The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning and welcome to Traders Corner's September Online Trading Summit. Thank you for joining us today. We have a great lineup for you with 6, not 7, of the industry's most experienced and knowledgeable traders will be on our panel today. With rising interest rates, inflation, and a recession looming, now more than ever, it's imperative to have professional guidance and a proven strategy to minimize risk as much as possible so you can safely take advantage of the volatility in the current trading environment. The good news is, on our panel today, we've handpicked 6 professional trading experts of the absolute highest caliber with over 100 years of combined trading experience, and they've agreed to bring their best trading strategy in a free educational forum designed to educate on how to minimize risk and safely build our accounts. So let's not waste any more time. I want to apologize to everybody today about Price not being able to make it. We are going to start with our first presenter, who was over 40 years in the fire service. He started trading futures in his off days 40 years ago. If you struggle with the psychology side of emotions when it comes to money management, then our first presenter has a solution for you. It's a software program called the Discipline Manager. Ladies and gentlemen, here to present Control Risk with your Discipline Manager tool is Mr. Stephen Tremper of Tremper.com. Welcome back to Traders Corner, Steve.
Thanks, Rob. How are you? So I just want to make sure you can see the screen here and my little arrow.
I'm always good. Audio and video check.
Okay, good. All right. Well, thanks for having me again. It's been a little while since I've done this one, but yeah, Discipline Manager was my tool that I actually got for myself. You know, it was built for me because I needed some controls. So anyway, so a little bit about me and where we're going. We're going to be today. There we go. You know, do you need a discipline manager at all? Some people don't. I'll show you how to establish your rules with the discipline manager and give you some examples of what'll happen if you breach those limits, and you know, the cost and today's special offer. And then we'll go over any questions and answers, and sometimes there's questions about settings and whatnot, and we can talk a little bit about that. And then how to download it, and so it can run on your NinjaTrader 8. So without further ado, this is me. You know, I've been in the fire service 40 whatever years, retired in 2019. I haven't been in futures for 40 years, as Rob just mentioned. I started that maybe like 10, 12 years ago or something, actually just getting into stocks and options and fiddle farting around with that. It wasn't until I, you know, failing those that I actually kind of stumbled upon futures. And then I learned about that, and it's like, okay, this is a better fit, and you know, there's no going back. So you just have to find your fit. But you know, even trading futures or anything for that matter, but specifically futures, it's so easy to get in and out. And I struggled with the psychological side of it because I've got, you know, the whole money part of it was my big thing. And so, you know, and I still do. So, you know, I'd be lying to you if I didn't say I totally don't worry about that. And I'm sure everybody does too when they put on a trade. You know, they're dealing with, you know, you're tick by tick by tick, and you know, you're worried, you get the stress. And once you finally get, you know, to quote unquote break even +1 or something, you feel a little better. I mean, obviously you want it to go, but needless to say, that's where it's at. So anyway, that's how the Discipline Manager actually started, because I kind of embarrassed to even tell you how many trades I would do in the course of a day, but I can just say it was like in 3 digits. So there was a lot. So over trading was my biggest thing, but there's others too. But in any event, as you see, it's just me. I'm not a, you know, big professional trader. I've never worked on an exchange or any fund. I'm just basically, it's just me, myself, and I. So, but it's as Rob mentioned, or I will do it right here real quick though, as far as the governmental requirement disclaimers, you know, futures and options do have potential and large risks, and hypothetical and simulated trading is great, but it's certainly sometimes not the same. So without further ado, I'm not going to go bore you too much on that one, but you know, basically we're dealing with money management here. Actually, those rules I don't have to do a lot with, because I'm not teaching you or showing you or telling you how to trade. In this case, with a Discipline Manager, if anything, I'm telling you how not to trade. So if anything, I really should even remove that slide altogether because it's really not needed. But money management statistics, 90% of the traders fail. 80% lose altogether and done after they blow a couple accounts and their spouse says no more. 10%, pretty much break even, and 10% consistently, can make money. And the big thing is the psychology. Psychology is a big thing, or some emotions, whatever you want to call it. But psychology is a big thing, as far as the hope, the greed. Pig makes money. Pigs make money. Hogs get slaughtered. That one. So the fear, the regret, and that was my thing. The fear of missing out. I need to get in there, and if I don't get this trade, I'm going to miss it. And oh, believe me, there's so many more. Anyway, and then the lack of trading, and the plan itself. Every manager out there, any webinar or all those kind of management tool companies that teach this type of stuff, they're always talking about they have a plan. No plan is a plan to fail, basically. The statistics actually just come from Google. So, there's nothing more, and you can just look it up yourself. Nothing that I haven't done anything special that I have any knowledge of. It's just basic Google stuff. So, but, why did they fail? And I mentioned earlier, they failed to limit the losses and over trading. That was my thing. The fear of missing out. And then waiting for the trade. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I like the adrenaline part of it. That's why I like NASDAQ. And maybe that's why I got into the fire service. So I've got that type of thing, and sitting there waiting, it just drove me kind of nuts. And that's where my fear of missing out or just over trading just, kind of took the better part of me. I said, I've got to come up with something to curtail this. And so that's where the Discipline Manager came to be. But fear, you've got to learn to cut your winners short. And, fear of giving back profits. I've learned now that I would much rather get out. It's always better to, be out wishing you were in than being in wishing you were out. So I would much rather, just get out with a short loss, reevaluate, and a click of a button, you get back in a flash of a second. So, but hesitating to pull that trigger for whatever fear there might be, hanging on to losing trades, that's not a good one. So, you've got to define your edge, define your risk, accept your risk, and then everything goes. And if all your rules that you've come up with are all met, then just go and just do it. Just, the probability is in your favor if you've got your rules all lined up. So again, you got to curtail these, over trading and whatnot. And I get asked the question, it's a hypothetical or rhetorical question, but have you ever done this? And I've done polls on this before, and I can just tell you that if somebody says they don't have any of these, then they're probably lying to you, because everybody at one time has done something here. So anyway, as I mentioned earlier, my issue is the waiting, and that's where I've been getting into algos more the last probably 4 or 5 years. Because then I've always been a computer guy, so I've always thought it's like, well, why can't, if I'm waiting for certain rules for this to happen and that to happen, why can't I just put it in the computer and let the computer tell me, like a ding or a dong or some sort of indicator or something, put it on the screen, let me know, so I don't have to stare around, because I just got tired of waiting. So you've got to be able to master the ability to wait if you're not trading algos and you're just trading. There's a lot said for disciplinary trading and just on your own, and you can make a lot of money doing it, but you've got to be able to master the control. And basically we're not waiters, we're not traders, we're waiters, so that's what so we just got to wait, and that's where I kind of got into algos, because I just got so tired of waiting. Here you are looking at a screen, just waiting, it's ridiculous. So but that was half the problem with the psychology part of it. You've got your rules, and you just got to sit there, and then as soon as you think you got 5 rules met, the 6th one doesn't, so you got to wait again and start all over again. So or getting out too quick. So finally you get your rules met and everything's good to go, you're in a trade, and now you're getting worried. You break even +1 or something, and so you got to bring up your stop, because but things are going in your direction. So it's like, wait a minute, things are going in your direction, you've been waiting for this, so why are you getting out now? It's afraid of giving it all back. Well, I understand that, but you waited this long for it to kind of to progress, and now it's finally going in your way, and things are starting to look better, and now you're going to get out because you're afraid of it going backwards. So it's like you just somehow got to get past all that psychological thing. So, and that's, the discipline manager cannot help you with your psychology, but it will help you with your discipline, and that's going to lead to healthier psychology. And I can tell you right now, I've used it for many, many years. This is actually the second tool that I had. The first tool I had was reversal bars that I was trading with, just some indicators. I have a lot of indicators, that a lot of which are for free on the web page. Just go get them and play with them. Some of them are not, but they're all tools that I've made for myself, every single one of them. So I'm not in the business of making tools for other people. There's a lot of companies out there that could do that. I'm not like that. I just want what works for me and what I like. And some of the tools that I have available, I just never put into the algorithm. I just, it wasn't beneficial. It's nice to look at, but it doesn't really, help. So in any event, you gotta, control the losses, because that will definitely help with the mindset. And so whatever your average winning day is, don't lose more on a bad day. You've heard the motto, surrender the fight, but not the battle. Everybody has a different account size. So, you hear people saying 1%, 1% of $5,000 traded minis versus a $5,000 account traded micros is not the same. They're two different animals. So you've got to be able to kind of, what you're doing. The moral of the story is, like Warren Buffett said, is, rule number 1, never lose money. And rule number 2, never forget about rule number 1. And that's so true. You've got to be able, oh, sure, everybody gets down, negative and up and negative up, but you've got to be cognizant of that and be able to control it. And you got the 4 choices. You got the big win, the small win, all of which you can kind of overcome. The small losses you could overcome. It's the big losses, and eliminate those right there will definitely result in your psychology at being much more at ease. So, stop losses. It's kind of like an insurance policy. You certainly never want to use it, but in the event that something catastrophe happens, that it'll kick you out. So, nobody really knows the risk reward ratio. Everybody talks a lot about, risk reward, but what is the reward? I mean, who knows where the market's going? Who would have ever thought crude can get to a negative number? Years ago when crude went in the negatives, it's like, who would ever thought that? Usually when something goes zero, it's bankrupt. Well, that's apparently not the case. So, yeah, you can measure the risk for sure, but you really don't know where it is. So, I personally don't even like targets. I just let it run until the market says no more and comes back to my trailing stop, and then I guess that's my target. And I'm done. That's all I'm willing to give up on it once I get to a certain point. So the question is the probability. That's the key, is what's the probability, and the risk side of things of the trade, and you can only control is the stop loss. And if you have too many stop losses, then that's where the discipline manager comes in. So you don't want to move it too much. Oh, yes, I finesse it a little here and there, but you don't want to be moving it way down, thinking that, okay, I'll just get it way out of the way. Next thing you know, you're really in trouble. So, and don't get caught up on the revenge trading. I've been there. I think we've all done it. Sometimes you're like, oh man, I know it. And you know what? Just say next. Just wait for the next one. Just never give up. You get so close, and it took me years. As I said earlier, I failed in the options and forex. I messed around a little bit, but I really like futures. But it didn't happen overnight. I'll tell you that. So it many times I thought about this just isn't doing it. And nowadays they have the prop firms that give you the money. So, for minimal fees. That when I was doing it, they didn't have that. So I wish they did. So it's a nice little tool to have. So you got to protect yourself from with your personal trading manager. And that's where the discipline manager came for me when I started doing it. So you set up your own rules, and the discipline manager is designed to allow you to set your hard daily and weekly drawdown limits. So it's the most you're going to lose for the day. And if your hard drawdown limits are hit, then you're done for the day or the week, whatever it might be. But let's just talk about the day. So you're done for the day. And then new trades, if you try putting one on, it's just going to take it right off, and that's going to be it. So once your daily or weekly goals are hit, there's two ways you can handle it. You could just, I know some people that just have it set for done. I'm done. I hit my goal and I'm out. It's not going to allow you to trade anymore and get caught up in, that revenge business. You're not going to get it back. The other is, and which I like, is the dynamic drawdown. And the dynamic drawdowns allows you to continue to trade, but only giving up a certain amount. And even if you have even if you're giving up 99%, somehow there's a percentage. So basically, even if you said, I hit my goal, I'm going to continue to trade, but I'm only going to give up 99%. Basically, you're playing with house money. The 99% covers, commissions and whatnot. So worst case scenario, you get popped out at the end of the day, you haven't lost any money. So, I mean, yeah, you're a little mad if you were up, but the point of it is, so now whether or not you do 99% is up to you. It all depends on what your original goal was. But the point of it is that, what's good for you? 50%, 33%, 66%, you name it, 25, 75%, whatever. Warning boxes get popped up and they get displayed though when you do breach them. So there's a little snapshot of the settings in here, and it is not an indicator. It's not placed on your chart. It's a separate, it's an account tool. So you don't even have to, once you set it, you don't even have to have it on. I mean, frankly, I like to see it because it shows me my peak, but you don't even have to have it on at all. So up at top, the very first thing you do is you would, this is just a picture, so I can't click on anything, but obviously you pick your account. If you're doing playback or sim, whatever, I would definitely play, in sim or in playback mode and take some trades, take some purpose losing trades and see what happens. The 17th hour of the day based on your computer, based on your time frame and the market and your broker, if you want things to set at certain times. Usually 17 is based on New York. My computer clock is New York time, even though I'm outside Chicago. So I have it set for 17. Your daily warning. So right now I'm not using that. If you don't want to use it, just 999. It kind of gets it out of the way. And then your daily drawdown halt is 999 if you're not using those at all. If you are going to use those, so let's say you put like $500 in there or $350 for your warning. What's going to happen is when you have your warning that's hit, if it's come down and you've hit your warning, you're going to get a 15-minute timeout, and that basically comes from the circuit breakers, from the stock exchange. So basically, it's just going to say, hey, you're in a warning. Go outside, take a walk, whatever, get your mind out of it. Basically let this trade get past, for 15 minutes, get out of the way, and then you could, come back and trade. Once your halt is hit, then you're done. Then you're done for trading for the day. And you could have this trail too. So if you have that unchugged, you're just going to have the big spread from your goal to your target. But if you have it trailing, then it's just going to trail up. Once you do hit your goal, and your first goal is here, then you got max position size and things like that. But as far as your goal is concerned, so now let's say you hit your goal, and in this case, I've made, $9,999 goal. So you're gonna, if you don't want the warning, you could just 999 it out of the way. If you do want it, you might want like maybe 25. So let's say it's just hypothetically 25%, and then you can come back after 15 minutes. And then maybe your halt might be set at 50% or something. So basically, the worst case scenario is you're giving back 50% of your goal, whatever that might have been. And then when you get going further, and the whole purpose of the dynamic drawdown is to keep growing higher. So now you've got a higher goal. And so the next goal is a rule of thumb is anytime you want to change your percentages, you need a new goal. So if your goal is here is $1,000, well, now that and you're doing, let's say 50% as a halt, so you're willing to give up $500. And here is the goal too. Well, now you've hit $2,000, let's say. Well, you don't really want to give back 50% of that, right? So you might want to change your percentage to to 25%. You're willing to give back 25% of the 2,000, which is basically the same amount. Same thing for weeklies. Same deals. You got to remember that it's if Monday you lose, Tuesday you lose, Thursday or Wednesday you lose. At what point does it say stop? And that's all up to you. And then this was added later for unrealized orders, for naked orders, people that are running bots. That's how I did that, because I had some bots that were, I just didn't like naked orders. And if you're not trading with stops, you certainly don't want to have that check because you'll get popped out. And then you could have your choices as far as closing open positions, and this oh, I'm sorry, the unrealized came from all these prop firms, unrealized versus realized. So your P&L, because it's based on your account, as I said earlier. So once you see this red sentence down there, then you're locked in. The only thing you can do is hit a reset, and that's pretty much about it. So as I kind of went through the example, 350, and you get halted if you set at 500. Once you close underneath or breach negative 350, then you're done, and you need a 15-minute timeout, as Mom would say. And then you'll get that warning that says, hey, your daily drawdown warning is hit, and the discipline manager is not going to let you take any more. And then when you get the halt, same thing. After your timeout, you come back, you got a new face on, you're trying a couple more, you're just not in the groove, and you come down even further yet. And of course, you're going to get timed out again there. Now it says you're done. So go, again, we'll go back to the, don't lose the war, just give up the battle and come back, go regroup, maybe do some market replay at the end of the day or the weekend, whatever it might be, check your settings, see what you want to do after when the market's closed, and then come back with a new posture. So resets, I talked really briefly about resets. Resets are not easy. I know there was much discussion at the beginning and onset of that of us, some people didn't want them at all. We don't want to be reset. Or there was somebody even suggested that could I have a password I can give my spouse, and then that way, I'm controlled that way. Well, the moral of the story is you're the business. You're the owner of your business. And if you want to reset it, that's your prerogative. Now, I would not recommend resetting it in the middle of the day. I would wait until the end of the trading day, reevaluate your rules, kind of see where you're going with that. Maybe do some more sim, check it out, make some losing trades, etc., and see what happens, see if it's results. And by all means, reach out to me. I can tell you what's going to happen, and based on your rules, and then you could see if it's what you think is going to happen. So, but it's not easy though. We did make it so it's not easy. You do have to relaunch Ninja. So that means you have to shut down your charts and all that business, relaunch Ninja, then come back in again, and then you can reset your discipline manager. But obviously, if you reset them again with the same numbers, well, you're already there, and so you're just going to get hit again. So you'd have to kind of do it. So it's not easy, but it can be done. And then obviously, yeah, if you do come back at the end of the same day, you want to have your numbers a little changed, because otherwise you've already breached them, as I said. So, what else? So the discipline manager. Okay, so here's the settings with actually set here. You can see here the stats. This is the part that I kind of like to see. If anything, I'll shrink this window down and just basically show this area right here is all I'm really looking at. I just like to see that peak. It kind of is a nice thing. So the sounds for some reason isn't working right now. I got to look into that. But when you do hit your goal, so that's all the negative part of it. So let's talk about the positive part. You hit your goal. You get a congratulations. Now your new rules have applied, because your new rules are different than your original drawdown and your original goal. So now you've hit your goals. What happens now? And that's where your dynamic rules now apply, and so you have to know what they are. I would imagine you would, and then we'll do them appropriately. So the two rules of thumb, as I mentioned earlier, you hit your goal, you're done for the day, or you can continue, but you never want to give back your hard-earned money. So from there, once your goal is hit, you hit your dynamic drawdown becomes active. And if it goes down to a certain level, then you're halted and you're done there. You'll never give back more than that. Now, keep in mind there's commissions there, and it's if you have based on realized, which I mainly do, is when you're based on realized, it's got to wait until the trade's done. So once the trade is over and it gets out, let's say your first contract comes out off and now it got you down, you're a loser for whatever the case is. Any additional contract will come off also if you have that checked. If you don't have it checked, then it'll stay on there until that one's done, which means you could lose actually more than your percentage that you wanted, because you're still in the trade. And that's where the option is there for unrealized. If you're on one of those prop firms that use unrealized calculations, then you could do that too. So when it hits it, it's just boom, it just knocks you out right away, and you're like, what happened? So again, you're the CEO of your trading business, so you've got to delegate. Think of it as a business, really do. Delegate your rules you set your rules and you give these to the discipline manager and allow it, the manager, to monitor your trading employee, who is you. So you got to put your two different hats on. You're the boss and you're the employee. So if your trading employee, you, gets out of line, you have a bad day, overtrading, etc., your discipline manager that your CEO hired, which is you, will control your losses on his behalf. At the following CEO meeting with yourself, then over the weekend or at night, then you can, reevaluate your settings and tweak and do what you got to do, and then set up your discipline manager for the next day, and then allow your employee to follow those new rules, which is basically you. So it's kind of confusing, but I think you're following along. So, just as the circuit breakers mentioned, there's right now it's the demo there. It shows the 30% of your realized order. So once you've got down 30%, you get a timeout. Some people like the warning, some people don't. That's why I say you can put a 999 in there, and that way you'll never get the warning. And assuming your goal is set to 500, the discipline manager will trigger the circuit breaker and require a 15-minute timeout after the breach of a negative 150. And it's the same kind of thing. It just shows your daily dynamic drawdown warning is hit. So go take a chill pill. And it's just that, it's dynamic. So it goes up as your balance goes up. And that's where I said when you want to change you don't need to have a level 1, 2. The only time you need a level 2 is if you want to change your percentages. That's the only reason why, because if you start getting higher and higher, it's going to, let's say you have it set for 50%. Well, now you're at $10,000 of winning. Do you really want to give back 50% of that? Absolutely not. So $10,000, we go back to that earlier slide of the 1% or 1% of $5,000 trading micros is a lot different than 1% of $5,000 trading minis. So that said, is that as your account grows and your dynamic drawdown goes up and up and up, at some point you want to say, no, I don't want to give back that much. I want to give back a little less. So 50% I could see at the beginning, but at level 2 you might want to kick it back down to maybe 25%, depending on what that next level is. So you gotta have enough room to play though too. I mean, at the beginning of the day, you're having an initial drawdown of, I don't know, so hypothetically say $500. So if you hit your goal, well, you can't have a $100 drawdown limit. So you got to give yourself enough room to to continue to go to the next $500. So, but you don't certainly want to give it all back. So you got to play with that a little bit. So once it's hit, you're done. And so as far as some of that, this is a slide that's actually being filled out. We just talked about the levels and how you could do it. It's pretty simple. And actually you could just click the button and close it. You don't even have to have this on once it's applied. See right here, it's not applied. So you'd have to apply these settings. If these are the settings you want for this specific account, then you would hit apply and you see that red sentence that says, okay, you're golden. There's a level 1, level 2. And kind of what you covered there is the naked orders. I was telling if you're running bots or something, if you're worried about that came because I've been starting to get into as I say, the last couple of years I've been doing the bots and some problems there. So beta version is available. I mean, this beta version is really not. It's been out there a while. These naked orders have been in there for quite some time. The defaults, this right here. So if you want to send me this export file right here, if you want to set up your rules and whatnot, and then just click that, you can set it as default. So on your next account that you switch for your next, let's say you're playing around in Sim and you like it, you can set it as the default. So that way, when you switch it to your live account, it'll just pop all the numbers right there. If you want me to evaluate, by all means, just hit the export button. It'll put a little TXT file on your desktop, and you can just shoot that over via email, and I'll tell you what's going to happen, and we'll see if you're right. But keep in mind, it's just me, myself, and I, so I'm not the big conglomerate yet. So, I might have to kind of, social hours where you find me most of the time. I'm always trying to be there for technical support and whatnot. So the drawback, our main obstacle in discipline manager, it cannot suppress market orders. So if the discipline manager says, hey, you're halted because you blew it, and you think you're going to be faster than it can, you could do a market order real quick and get in, and the discipline manager in a millisecond later is going to say, oh, I'm taking you off. And now you've got commissions and maybe some slippage. So I know we're monitoring one of Ninja's support things about suppressing manual orders. We want to be able to have the discipline manager not even allow you to take a market order, but at this point you can't. So if you think you're going to beat it, you will, but the discipline manager is going to be right behind you and take it right off, and you're just going to get hit with the commission. So getting started. Currently, it's it's offered on a subscription rate because nobody needs it for life. I mean, typically, once you get comfortable with it, some people might need it longer than others, but you decide. It's all set up on PayPal. It's real easy. You control, when to start, stop. I have nothing to do with it. You want to cancel it, just go to your PayPal account, sign in, cancel, and done. And that's it. It'll finish out the month that you're on. There is an annual reduced fee also. There is a 20-day free trial, but the PayPal activation is not. So don't do the PayPal activation until you're ready to get going on it. Go play with it for 20 days. That's some live sim time that you could do in the real world out there on live trading, and certainly you can incorporate weekends and nights in there at market replay at 1,000,000 times speed. You can play around with it. So don't even go to PayPal until you're done and you know what you want to do. But it does make it easy to cancel your subscriptions if anybody's not familiar with that. So how to get it? Go to Tremper.com, obviously, and just go to the tools menu, and those are all the tools that I have. These are some, and it even goes down more, but most of these are free. I mean, my favorite actually is the status box. I love that thing. All that does absolutely nothing other than just give you your current events. And I like that because I don't like to use my screen space, that big panel, the chart panel, 1 inch on the right. That's too much screen space. And I've got 4 screens. So the status box is just a little box that just gives you your status, and you can check it out if you want to see that. But anyway, what we're really talking about is the discipline manager. Some of the entry zones, and then what you don't see here underneath here is Helix. Those are algos that I've been working with lately, and that's truly the way to go too. But the discipline manager is more really for discretionary trading, although I do have a hedge fund that does have multiple licenses because they do put it on their computers that are running their thing, just as a backup, if you will. It is only unfortunately available for Ninja 8, and quite frankly I have no idea of switching. I have no desire, or there's nothing in the works right now about all the other programs out there because it's just too much for me to handle. So anyway, here's your download file. So just go right there and click on that and have at it. You download it, and then you go to your control panel and go to Tools, Import Ninja Script, bada boom, bada bang, and you're good like any other indicator that you've done. If you need help on that, there's tools on the page that will show you how to install and how to deinstall and how to do this and get your machine ID, etc. down at the bottom of the page here. But that's the one you want. And so if you, after that, want to, this is a bigger page, if you do want to subscribe after you've had it for 20 days, and by all means there's a contact link there, but this box right under it is a subscription box, and if you click on Discipline Manager, it'll open up. It'll say the monthly fees and whatnot are annual, and says this link will start immediately. So this is assuming you've already had your 20 days and now you're ready to get moving on it. So but since you're here today, we do have the special offer. Like pretty much most webinars, I think we've all been there. I do have a 30% off for a limited time only. This is going to be short to the end of the month. So as part of the webinar hosted here, as a special thanks, basically we have a 30% off the monthly price or the annual price for the lifetime of your subscription. Now, as I said earlier, you cancel it anytime you want. When you feel comfortable and you're trading pretty well and you don't need it anymore, just go to your PayPal and cancel it. If you cancel this subscription and then you want to, and this has happened, they cancel it and then a month or two later, they've blown an account and they come back, this subscription is no longer. So it would be at the regular rate. So, but as long as you keep the subscription, it'll stay there as long as you do. So in order to get that is under referrals though. So there's a special code I have under here under discount code. So if you go to the referral page and then you'll go to the discount codes, there's a discount page I have there. And actually, if you want to get on the mailing list for that, because it changes all the time now. And this is what it looks like. And basically, this all came from all these prop firms the last year or so that have been popping up. Everybody's always hitting me up as far as, how do I get, which one's better, and et cetera, et cetera. So these are all the ones. If I go back a link here, right here, you can see how they start the list, and it just goes down the list, and you can see there's got to be a dozen plus down there. But these are the only ones that are offering right now these coupons. So, and this, as I say, changes all the time. So if you want to get on the email list, you could do that, and then you send out an email list. But these, what I'm dealing with right now is the Discipline Manager. Here's your code for the webinar specials. I just did a webinar the other day on entry signals, and so there's a discount code on there. If you wanted to go to tools and look at that, there's some videos, or you can go to subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can do it that way and kind of see what that is. I'm not going to get involved on that right now, but anyway, as I said, I've been kind of doing algos more. So there's the entry signals, and you still gotta do your discipline. Just because your signal's going, I just got so tired of waiting for signals. So I just want to be able to have it get in, or even at least give me a bing or a bang or a dong. And then I can manage it from that point. I just don't want to stare at the screen. I never get anything done, emails or anything at all. I can't get anything done. I'm constantly scaring. So the entry signals do just that, and then you have to finesse it like you would normally finesse a trade. And then the Discipline Manager coupon is right there. And the other one is the Helix. That's a strategy. This is an indicator, and Helix is a strategy. Okay, so once you click on that little button, you're going to get the discounted rate. This button is specifically made for the discount, and you'll see it shows 0. It's going to be nothing until for 1 day, and then the next day at midnight it triggers. So again, don't do this until you've done your 20 days. I can't tell you how many times people do this, and they say, "Hey, I have a 20-day free trial, but it's charged. Wants to charge me tomorrow or whatever." I'm like, well, don't do that then. Don't go to PayPal. Just go ahead and play with it. So, but regardless, I do need a contact. Go to the contact form, because I do need your machine ID. Now, I don't need the machine ID to play with it for 20 days, but in order to go further, in order to find you in Ninja system, they go by machine IDs. Otherwise, I don't know how to find you. So I have to have your machine ID, not your license ID, your machine ID. So if you hit the contact form there, send that over. And I do need that to continue forward and certainly to find you. So other than that, I think I'm good. I see a couple questions here. And as far as how to get a hold of me, I got obviously the contact page that you just saw that I just pointed to on the page itself. We do have the traders group that you're more than welcome to join. It's just through Skype. You can use that invite link there, the Skype invite link if you have Skype. It's just a bunch of people, traders. It's a lonely game. So we call it just the traders group. It's just my theme, if you will, is just traders helping traders. I can't tell you how many times. It's a good little knowledge base. I know there's a lot of different clubs and whatnot, but it's nice to have somebody available. Hey, I can't load my template, or where does the template go, or anything. I have one guy that just talked about computer. I'm getting another computer for trading. Does anybody have any recommendations, or any recommendations on brokers? Whatever. It's just it's basically just trading, a trading knowledge base. And there's other people out there that some talk more than others, and sometimes it's quiet, which is great because it's easy to follow. But then sometimes there's a hot topic, and people jump in. So it all depends on the topic. But in any event, that's the Skype. You're more than welcome to join that. And then, of course, if you want to get a hold of me, you can certainly reach out with my email right there. I do have my newest little toy is the little widget on a thing for the chat. But keep in mind it's new, like literally like 2 days new. And I don't even have a knowledge base in there yet. So if you look up something knowledge base, there's going to be nothing there. And if you do chat to somebody, it's me, so I'm not there 24/7. But I'm working on just a new toy I'm playing with to see if it's easier to get a hold of people. So other than that, I mean, that's pretty much all I got. If anybody wants to revisit one of the slides, I could do that. Let me run through here. I see, Rob, you've answered some already. I sure need it. Okay. Well, yeah, play with it and turn it on. And I would definitely recommend doing it in market replay, or playback as they call it now, because you can go, you set your things, and take some losing trade, take some winning trades. Make your goal really small so you can take some winning trades, and now you hit your goal, and then see what happens, and then take some more winning trades and see how it grows, and then take some losing trades and let it come back and pop you out on purpose. Just purposely take some losing trades in market replay, and you can see what happens. And then you're like, okay, well, now you're not going to, if you could try trading and it's going to say, no, you can't do it. So try it again, and then see what happens. And you could reset, you learn how to do your reset. Now, one thing easy with market replay is if you slide your date and move to a different date or time, it automatically resets the playback account to 0. So you don't really technically have to do a reset when you're in playback, because it'll do it for you. It'll just zero your balance out. And don't I wish that you could do that in a live account on days that you have a bad day? Just go reset it. That'd be great. Unfortunately, that's just in playback or sim you could do that. But I would still encourage you to go ahead and try to hit the reset, just so you know how to do it, and what needs to be done. So play with it. That's all I can say. It says the discount expires on September 30th. Yes, you're absolutely right. And so how do we try for 20 days? You're right. I've seen that before, and that's just what it is. So you've only got, unfortunately, 7 days left. You can, because the sale is going to be over. The sale only lasts, a day or two after the webinar. But by default, anybody at any time would have 20 days to play with it. So unfortunately, with this special coupon that expires on the 30th, you would have to make your decision quicker. So because after the 30th, if you enter your demo and your trial into the October 1st, and then you go to until October 5th, and you're ready to do it, that coupon will be gone. So it's probably not what you wanted to hear, but it is what it is. It's the calendar. I can't change the calendar. So is the traders group in Skype the social hour? No. The traders group is just, I don't know if you're familiar with Skype, it's just a chat box kind of thing. It's just a bunch of traders that talk trade, and some people, they're not always ninja. There's people that do other things. There's some people that, mostly, I would say 90% is futures, but there are people that actually have an options market maker in there, and he's pretty knowledgeable. If you have some questions on options, he'd be your go-to guy. But yeah, and he's a great, he's in social hour all the time too. So social hour was something that we had after we did a couple groups of trading psychology, and so it was after that we met with the doctor, and it was for 6 weeks. We did it twice, and then after that the group said, hey, we want to keep this going. And so I wanted to call it happy hour or the virtual bar, but I did a little kind of query, and social hour came to be more politically correct. So I guess social hour it is. So social hour is just designed, they wanted an hour of trading at the end of the day. So we do open it up. It's a Zoom link on there. It just takes you to Zoom. It's Monday through Friday. It starts an hour of the last hour of the day. It used to be after the market, but then people wanted to see live trading stuff. So if they wanted, we share screens. If somebody has any technical problems, we can share screens. We have the videos. It's microphone. None of this chat stuff. It's all mic. So you could talk, and you could share. By sharing your video, you get to know people, and you're always willing to help people out that versus just some screen that you see. So I always encourage people to throw the video on, but that's social hour, and that's only a certain time of the after the market. That's it. Sometimes there's one person in there, and sometimes there's a lot of people in there. So it's just hit and miss. So I would just recommend not going in there. Oh, nobody's here and leaving. You might want to just leave it on for 10 minutes to see if anybody comes, because I can't tell you how many times somebody's come in and left, and then 2 seconds later somebody else comes in and oh, nobody's here and leaves, and it's just you never catch each other. So, but they are two different things. So the chat is 24/7. The Skype thing, the traders group, that's Skype 24/7, 365. So other than that, I think I am good to go, and I've answered all. Yes, the social, everything's under the community page on the website. You got the social hour, and then the invite link. You just got to invite, use that invite link to connect to me, and then I'll just move you in there. Other than that, I think I'm on time for your next presenter.
Oh, Steve, you are absolutely on time. And two things I would like to say is you might catch me in at social hour if I get a few extra minutes.
Sure.
And being a former firefighter, I just want to say that, give you a little respect and thank you that saving lives is a great calling, and kudos to you, sir.
Oh, thank you.
But thank you, Steve. Your discipline manager's tool sounds great. Ladies and gentlemen, if emotions are getting in the way of your trading, Steven Tremper of Tremper.com has the solution, and it's called the Discipline Manager. You can learn more or find Steve at www.tremper.com that I will put in the chat box momentarily. And his tool has been a game changer for so many traders that struggle with overtrading and a lot of the other emotional issues that traders commonly face when it comes to real money.